Hello and welcome to my COVID-inhibited, I'm sorry to say, review of Carnival Luminosa on its inaugural sailing after being rebranded from the Costa fleet. Its inaugural sailing out of Brisbane, Australia on November the 6th for a week, going up to the Great Barrier Reef and back again. Now, for those of you who are regular Carnival patrons, you'll notice the difference straight away. It doesn't have the regular wing-like Carnival funnel. It has a repainted Costa, normal kind of funnel. And the decor is certainly reminiscent of the Costa brand. So if you've been on Costa before, you'll know that the colours are bright. The colour palette is very bright. There's a lot of artwork, and it has a very Italian-European feel to it. And indeed, some of the crew members, including the captain, are still the original Costa people. And that is perfectly fine by me because I'm a satisfied past Costa cruiser. Now, as far as the check-in procedure went, that was all very smooth. I thought, this is brilliantly smooth, until someone pointed out to me, of course, no one was getting off the ship on this occasion, so they're only doing embarkation, not disembarkation followed by embarkation. So maybe it won't go as smoothly as it did for me on this occasion, but I have no complaints there. The cabin is everything you need, everything you expect in a typical cabin. I normally go for internal, ocean view, or occasionally a balcony cabin. I don't go for the fancy suites. I like it simple, and this is everything. As I say, it's just everything you expect from a Carnival cabin. I'm sure certainly a Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Line, Costa, at that level of cruising, everything is there. It's durable. It works. I had the king bed, which was the two double beds put together. I wish I could stop sliding down the middle, but if that weren't a problem, it's probably even more comfortable than my own bed, so I don't have any complaints about that. The food, maybe 3.5 out of 5. In the main dining room, I just did an allocated dining where I sat with some very nice people who were strangers when I got there, and they were friends at the end, which is often the cruise experience. And I was the youngest person at the table, which I always sort of enjoy at my age. Lovely people, and all up, the service could not be faulted. They were very happy. They had a showtime every night where they danced or sang, and they were enjoying themselves. The service was a little bit wobbly at the start, again, probably due to this being the first time this particular crew has been together doing what they do. Certainly a lot more slick and professional by the end of the week that I was there. The food, average kind of, as I say, a 3.5 star out of 5 restaurant. Not, I could have paid to go to the steakhouse, which was the only specialty dining, or I could have had some seafood, paid extra for that. But really, I was happy. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's not going to win any Michelin stars, but that's not really the point. In terms of the breakfast, and I was going to make this point anyway, but I noticed someone's already made the point on social media. Not enough bacon. Bacon was not an option every morning. Now, this could be cost-cutting by Carnival, or it could be them underestimating how much Australians like their bacon. And since they're sailing out of Brisbane, you would expect the majority of their customers are going to be Australian, and certainly I'm sure Americans do too, but, cut up ham is probably cheaper for them, which is a shame because, a bacon and egg breakfast is kind of something I think a lot of us would do all the time if we could, but we either can't afford it or we can't afford the time to make it. So that would have been nice to have that option. I did discover the omelette bar, or use the omelette bar, a little bit too late in the journey. I got one at the end and I thought, why didn't I do this every day or every other day? But, there's a good selection of food in what they call the marketplace. These little specialty booths, so you can get tacos and burritos at one. You can get burgers at another, not the Guy Burgers brand that Carnival have on their other ships, but still quite serviceable hamburgers and hot dogs. And also deli-style sandwiches of the sort of New York American sort of style, and the pizza place, and the pizza place is open until very late. For the odd night that I actually stayed up late, it was great to go to get a pepperoni to go to bed with. Yeah, so really, the food was everything I expected. The entertainment, pretty much the usual kind of entertainment that one gets on board a cruise ship. The cast seemed a little unrehearsed in parts, and that may be again because they're all maybe together for the first time. And one night we got a concert-style version of one of the shows rather than the full-blown performance. Believe that might have had something to do with there being seas were a little bit rough. I mean, not really, but I know they have to be sensitive towards injuries. I saw someone get injured in a show one night, a dancer, and so I wouldn't want to be them. But it was kind of odd having the vocalists sort of front and centre and the people who were normally just the dancers and the backups with very little to do in that particular show. The usual sort of jukebox musical fare, not the big ticket numbers that you get on some cruise lines. So the house band, they were excellent, and there were some good soloists around the ship, and even the pipe music was pretty much my generation from the 80s. Songs by The Jam, The Smiths, Elvis Costello that I have in my own playlist, so that no complaints there. And I like to do a Sweet Caroline count. And there was at least 3 times, I'm sure there were more, there were 3 times I heard it, 2 from live performers and once in the piped music. So good to see that Neil Diamond classic is still a staple of cruising, as it has been on the previous 16 cruises I've taken. The staff are extremely friendly. They go out of their way to help you, to know your name. The cruise director, Simon London, who, no surprise, is English, very professional. He's a people's person, the kind of person who you can spend 10 seconds with and feel like he's giving you his fullest attention. He seemed to be great with kids, and he was welcoming and warm, everything you expect him to be. It was a fun crew, and as it should be, they make people feel included. That's what it's all about. So, and a few of them, were characters, and the waiters and the bar staff very similarly try to engage you, and they get their promotion hopes and all that sort of pinned to that. Had it not been in Australian waters, of course, they'd be looking for tips as well, but Australians famously do not tip. And in terms of value for money, well, I can't complain about that. I paid for a 4-day cruise in 2021, which of course got cancelled, for an extra $200. I not only got the 7-day cruise, but I also got $450 room credit. So that on top of the super cheap price in the first place, absolutely no complaints there. I understand quite a few people got some bargains on that sailing, and a few more bargains will be in the offing as Carnival tries to establish itself here. So really the only downside for me was that, and it had to have happened on board because I was negative before I got on board, was that I caught COVID somewhere on the line. In fact, I joked on social media. Well, it wasn't a joke, it was a true story. I got into a lift. There were 3 or 4 people in there, and one of them said, well, I would have enjoyed this cruise a lot more had I not been feeling so sick. So whether that person had COVID and being in that enclosed space with them had done it for me, I don't know. I'm trying to be philosophical about this. I would have got it anyway, and I would have cruised anyway, and I still will cruise. I'm up to number 17 or something now. I'm not going to stop doing this thing that I enjoy doing simply because I got sick on this one occasion. It's not good to be sick. I don't feel well. It's, it's only been a couple of days now since I tested positive. I'd recommend not getting COVID if you can avoid it. But at the same time, at this point, I'm comfortable with my level of vaccination and the things that I've done. But I think maybe the cruise lines are going to have to always have it in the back of their mind that this will be an issue for them. Overall, yeah, I would say a 4.5 out of 5 experience. For people who haven't cruised before and you live in Brisbane, southeast Queensland, it's an opportunity to dip your toe in the water, as it might be. And for constant cruisers, if you want to see the Great Barrier Reef, why not sail on it? It's one of Australia's great attractions. So wherever you are in the world, come to Brisbane and explore the part of the world that I come from. And I've travelled to a lot of places, and sometimes you never get around to seeing your own backyard, which I have just done and I recommend to you. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and tell me what you liked and what you didn't like by using the comments. Thank you for your time, and bon voyage.